Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Lowball Offers. In this week's video, we're going to talk all about them, how to write them if you are a buyer, and how to guard against them if you're a seller. We're also going to talk about some of the negative connotations in the market surrounding lowball offers, but how they can be the best tool for you if you want to buy real estate at the best possible price. Very quickly before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hassan. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make educational real estate content to help you on your real estate journey. I also make content designed to help you make your move in and around Vancouver. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can book me for a free call in the Calendly link below. We can talk about your situation one-on-one, but regardless, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a future video. All right, so lowball offers. The reason I decided to do this video right now, I've had a couple clients talking to me about writing these types of offers, and over the last couple of years, Q4, October, November, December, it's turned into a bit of a prime environment to write a lowball offer. So first I'm going to explain, exactly what a lowball offer is, because a lot of talk surrounding these types of offers can be drilled down to perception. So if you Google lowball offer in real estate, what you get is, an offer that is significantly below a seller's asking price. That's essentially how it's defined. Now, we have to be very careful when we talk about lowball offers because, in my mind, a lot of it comes down obviously to what the seller's asking price actually is and whether that asking price makes sense. So what I mean by that is not every single offer that's significantly lower than a seller's asking price is a lowball offer. So for example, if a seller is asking 10% above the last sale to occur, comparable sale to occur, and you write an offer that's 15% below their asking price, on paper that looks like it's a lowball offer, but when you actually look at the market, it's not. So the first thing I want to mention is lowball offer. There is a perceptive element to it. There's also a negative connotation even in the industry. There's a lot of realtors out there that they won't write lowball offers on behalf of clients, and to some degree that makes sense, but only if you're understanding the data. So if someone's asking $2 million, the last comparable sale was at 1.7 and you have a client that wants to write at 1.1, it's not worth anybody's time to write that type of an offer. But I think as a realtor, if you're in that position, you do need to communicate with the client why. So again, negative connotation, perception, and obviously as a home seller, it's not something you're going to want to deal with. But like I mentioned at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with that. Now, lowball offer is something that's very important. When you're writing one of these offers, you have to do a couple things. Number one, you have to know the data. You have to know the sales data. You have to have an idea of sales trend. You have to have an idea of where you expect the market is going to go in the future, because the more information you submit along with your offer, you lessen the blow of having a lower offer. But really, when you write that offer, there's two things you need to do. You need to write an offer, obviously, that the seller's not going to be happy with, but they're going to be motivated to send you a counter offer. So essentially, you have to send them something where they don't look at it and be pleasantly surprised at the offer amount. If they get your first offer and they're happy with what they see, or they're like I said, pleasantly surprised with it, you've already put yourself in a position where you're going to pay more than the seller's bottom line price. But the second thing that you need to do when you write one of these offers is you can't write it so low that you ultimately offend the seller and the seller doesn't even give you a counteroffer. And that's very important if you are attached to this property, if you really want to get this property, because what you might do at a buyer at this point, you've submitted an offer, the seller's not countering it, now you're humming and hawing and you're thinking, oh man, I really wanted this property, what do I do now? If you as a buyer submit a fresh offer at that time, you've now completely lost all your leverage. You're no longer going to get the best price on the property. The seller knows that they hold the leverage on you. They know that you want the property more than they want to sell it to you. So again, if you take two things away from this video, number one, you want to write the offer low enough that the seller is, again, not happy with the offer, but motivated to counter the offer, but you don't want to write it so low that you insult them. One thing to keep in mind, lowball offers, they're very often written by investors in the market. I work with a lot of clients that are investors, and they don't fall in love with properties. They fall in love with returns, right? This is the price I'm going to pay. This is how much I'm getting on the rental. That formula makes sense here in Burnaby, New West, wherever it might be. They break it down. So if it doesn't work out with one property, it'll work out with the next. So that's why you often associate lowball offers with investors. But I say this all the time that, when you write any sort of offer on a property, whether it's low for today's market, it may not actually be low for the market a month from now or 2 months from now, especially if prices start continue to trend in a downward direction. So an offer of any sort is also an expression of interest. So I've been on both sides of it as an agent where we've written an offer that's low, it gets outrightly rejected. In fact, sometimes realtors bring emotions into it when they reject offers like this. I'll talk about that in a sec, but it gets outrightly rejected. We move on, we're trying to look for something else, and a month or a month and a half later, get a call from the same listing agent saying, hey, are your buyers still around? Are they still willing to move forward on this property? And at that point, guess who now holds the leverage? The buyer. So if you're out there, you're hunting around for deals, keep in mind that, writing an offer, of course you're trying to get that property, but it can ultimately be an expression of interest that saves you money on that property a month or two later. And I just talked about how, some agents, they bring emotion into the table when dealing with these lower offers. And I always say that, I feel like emotions in real estate should be reserved for the client, right? For the buyer, for the seller. I don't need to tell a lot of you, like, real estate is a very emotional transaction. Transacting real estate is a very emotional process for buyers, for sellers. They have memories in the home. Leave the emotion. I always say leave the emotion for the clients. Our job as real estate agents are to just be even keel, just stay in the middle and make sure that a transaction flows smoothly. And that also comes into play with lowball offers. Is we have to understand that our job is to communicate every single offer. And so for me and my clients, when I'm working with buyers, if I'm going to write a lower offer, I'm going to justify the heck out of it. And whether that's using sales data, whether that's using where we think the market's going to go. And that's why it's really important to work with a real estate agent who understands the market, understands the data. I've been asked a couple times, mainly from other realtors. They say, Hassan, you're like an encyclopedia of real estate knowledge, but does that really help you? Does it help you get you clients? Does it help you close deals? And the answer is yes. Like, having that sort of information or access and knowing where to go if you don't have the answers, that's what softens the blow, and that's what allows you to be able to send offers that are more forward-looking, offers that may not be reflective of the pricing today, but of where pricing may and likely be 2 or 3 months from now. And that's why these slower months in the market are very, very good for buyers. And if you're someone that's thinking that, if I write an offer today and prices go down in 2 or 3 months, then I'm gonna be down like right away. But what you need to do, or what you should do, is you should write the offer today that reflects the price that you expect the market to be at in 2 or 3 months, and then rely on your agent to be able to convey that message to the other agent. Because if you wait until the price gets to a certain level and market activity picks up, I could tell you you're not going to be able to submit a lowball offer because the buyer activity is back, and you're going to pay more for that property. So, pay the price today what you expect the price will be in 2 or 3 months. And that's why it's so important, again, to have an agent that understands this data. Because if I'm setting a lower offer, I'm communicating with the other agent on the phone first, via email. I'm submitting comparable sales stats, market trends, whatever it might be, because data brings the emotion level down. Even when I'm talking with another agent, they can understand where I'm coming from. That's very important. You never want to submit a lowball offer unsolicited without any sort of conversation. And it happens. You'll get a very low offer, no phone call from the agent. You don't remember even speaking with them. Did their client come through the open house? Super low offer, nothing in the body of the email. Like, that's very likely to get rejected because that other agent is going to convey, what message is that other agent going to convey? here is this offer, and I can't give you any reason as to why they submitted an offer like this. So that's kind of the key components behind, the lower offer. You might be thinking, okay, that's great. Like, don't insult the seller. Make sure that they want to counter it. Like, that's great in theory, but how do you actually do this? And this is where getting more of an understanding of the seller's position is extremely important. So, what we will look at is a multitude of things. We're going to look at, how many days has the property been on market? Have there been any cancels and relists? What is the reason that the seller is selling? You're not obviously always going to get the true answer to that, but it's our job to ask the question. Is it tenant occupied? Is it owner occupied? Do they want a longer completion? Do they want a rent back? It's the thing about a real estate offer is price is the most important thing, but it's literally the smallest line item in an offer. There's so many other things that go into an offer. So if you're going to write a lower offer to get a better price, you got to make sure the rest of the offer really lines up with what the seller is looking for. You really need to understand their motivations, the positions they're in. That's what's going to get you the best price and the best chance of your lowball offer getting accepted. All right, so I know there's probably some home sellers watching this video thinking, Hassan, why are you giving people tips on how to lowball my property? I'm going to actually now switch gears a little bit and as a seller give you some key points. Now, the first tip that I would give you in order to guard against lowball offers is to make sure that you are actually priced right to the market. You don't want to test the market with a high price because ultimately you're going to receive what you think are lowball offers, but they're just actually offers that are more indicative of where the market is at. So again, I keep circling back to it, but this is the importance of data and statistics in real estate. They count. They matter. Real estate, yes, residential, it's an emotional decision for many people, but pricing, that's a statistical, that's a data thing. There's an art to selling, there's a science to selling. You need both. So as a seller, just make sure that, yes, on the art side, your home is show ready, perhaps staged. You're having cleaners through, but then on the science side of it, you have to make sure that you're priced correctly. And in fact, pricing correctly could put you in a position, even in today's market, to get offers above what you're asking. So number one, to guard against the lowball offer, don't put yourself in a situation where you're outpricing the market and you're going to get lowball offers. Number two, many lowball offers you're going to receive, the right thing to do is to walk away, right? I'm not going to tell you that you need to counter every offer, but one thing that sellers, they don't know as much, I guess, is that when you receive an offer, it's not uncommon for a seller to counter like right at the asking price or just a touch below it. I always say that the negotiation with offers, it always starts at the seller's first counteroffer. Everything else is irrelevant. Asking price, irrelevant. Initial offer from the buyer, not so relevant. But when the seller gives their counteroffer, you now have two goalposts set up. So for example, suppose the asking price is $2 million. We come in, a buyer comes in at 1.9. We write an offer at 1.9, and now the seller counters at 1.995. Right? Like right under 2 million. We now have two goalposts to work with. And here is where we get an indication, an idea of whether we're going to be able to come towards some sort of agreement. So again, if it's very low and it's low for the market, go to your real estate agent and say, what do you truly think of this offer? Can you show me some sales, some recent comparable sales, similar homes, similar upgrades that like would justify this type of an offer? So get the guidance of your realtor, but do know that you can say, look, I'm willing to negotiate. I'm motivated to sell my property. I'm not going to give it away to you. I'm not going to sell it for this lowball price, but by countering very tightly or just below your asking price, it signals to the buyer, like, I'm willing to make a fair deal here. I'm not gonna succumb to a lowball offer. If they walk away, they walk away. You've, in good faith, tried to keep the negotiation going. And as a seller, you do also want to be cognizant of where the market may be going over the next couple months, because the longer that you are priced, at your asking price, markets go up and down. Prices right now are trending a little bit downwards, so you may find yourself chasing the market later on, and you may have wished you could have kept this offer initially. So be more cognizant of where the market is expected to go. Talk to your trusted advisors, realtors, financial advisors, whoever it might be. You can protect yourself against these lowball offers. You do not have to work with them. And again, many times you should not work with them. But there is a way, again, to signal to buyers that I'm willing to negotiate. I do want to sell. Let's keep this conversation going, but you're going to have to come way up to keep this ball rolling. So there you have it, guys. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, hit the like button, because what that does is it takes the video and it sends it out to more people so they can learn from it as well. And if you enjoy weekly real estate content, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss next week's video. And lastly, if you live in the Vancouver area or the Fraser Valley and you want to talk to me one-on-one about your real estate situation, you can book me for a free call in the Calendly link in the description box below, or you can just send me a text. Give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever you like. I'd be happy to chat with you one-on-one. But I want to thank you again for viewing this week's video, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video.